Now that we've stabilized the vehicle, we've assessed the scene, there's no hazards, we've taken the glass out, we have our patients protected. Now we have to think about what kind of pathway we need to develop to get our patients disentangled and out of the vehicle onto the street. Now, one of the things to think about with this methodology-wise today, we need to strategically cut vehicles sometimes to help weaken the vehicle structure. Now, part of that process is a tool evolution called a fender hinge or fender lift. We're going to actually sever the front crumple zone of the vehicle. Okay, to facilitate a fender evolution, what we want to do is we want to reach in and find that front suspension. The reason why we do that, we don't want to cut through the strut or the spring. That would be bad. All right. The first cut, we're going to make it vertically in line with that suspension. Once we've done that, we're going to come in and we're going to cut the bottom of the A-post where the fender meets of the rocker panel. Now we just want to cut the fender though, that's important. We don't want to cut too deep. We just want to sever the fender. One of the things to remember, just like any kind of extrication evolution, they don't go always quite as planned. Good example was this. This has got an inner fender well made out of steel, which is fairly rare today, but you might find it on certain vehicles, especially high-end vehicles. With an inner fender well, that simple fender lift where you're going to cut at the line with the suspension and cut at the bottom of the A-post and fold it up isn't going to work. You're going to need to facilitate a simultaneous operation between cutting and spreading to move that fender away from the inner fender well and work your operation that way. This way it'll expose our crumple zone, but you'll notice it will also expose the hinges of the door too, which that'll facilitate taking the door off right off the bat as well. Now, we're ready to go to sever our crumple zone. Basically, our crumple zone is this whole area right here. The reason why, and each crumple zone will look a little different. Some might be a hole, some might be a corrugation, some might be dimpled into the metal. Basically, that's an engineered location in that vehicle that wants to absorb energy in a crash, and that will crumple itself and absorb the energy, keep it away from the occupant. The reason why we're making that vertical cut into the crumple zone is to isolate the dash from the rest of the vehicle. When we go back and move the dash, whether we're going to lift the dash or we're going to roll the dash, that vertical cut will allow that dash to move independently of the rest of the vehicle. It also weakens the vehicle structure in that operation too. That facilitates a whole myriad of things. One, it releases some of the energy in the vehicle structure itself, but by helping the structure being weakened, it will help your tool work down the road.